nanach, masios, the ninth story, the wise one and the simpleton. All this was the way of the simple one. Now let us return to our first subject. In the meanwhile, there was a big commotion because the clever one had traveled and arrived with pomp and great wisdom. Pomp and great wisdom. The simpleton too came running to greet him with great joy. He said to his wife, "Quick, give me the silk robe. Let me go and greet my dear friend." To see him, she gave him the simple coat, and he ran to greet him. The clever one was traveling in a fancy covered wagon. The simple one came to greet him, asking about his welfare with great love and joy. "My dear brother, what's doing? Blessed is the one who had brought you. Blessed is the one who has brought you, and that I have merited to see you." To the clever one, the whole world was as nothing in his eyes, and particularly a man like this who seemed crazy, nonetheless, because of the great love of the youth that had existed between them. He drew him close and traveled with him into the city. Meanwhile, the two homeowners, the fathers of these two sons, had passed away while the clever one was wandering abroad and had left their house behind. The simple one, who had remained local, moved into his father's house and took possession of it. The clever one, who had been abroad, had no one to take possession of the house. The clever one's house was destroyed and lost, with nothing at all remaining of it. So the clever one had no place to stay. Upon his arrival, he traveled to a certain inn, where he suffered because the inn was not to his liking. So the simpleton now found himself a new task, and would come running from his house all the time to the clever one with love and joy, taking notice of how he was suffering at the inn. The simple one said to the clever one, "My brother, come to my house and stay by me. I will gather all my stuff into one area, and the whole house will be yours, to do with as you wish." This was agreeable to the clever one, so he entered his house and stayed by him. The clever one was always filled with suffering because he had a reputation as being exceptionally wise, a craftsman, and a very big doctor. A certain minister came and ordered him to make him a gold ring. He made for him a very amazing ring, engraved quite wondrously with image, and engraved a fantastic tree in it. The minister came, and the ring did not please him at all. This caused him much suffering, because he knew that if this ring with the tree were in Spain, it would be highly valued. One time a big minister came with a precious gem which was brought from afar. He brought him another gem with an image, and ordered him to carve this image into the first gem that he brought. He reproduced the image exactly, except for one mistake which no one except he alone would be able to discern. The minister came and took the gem, and it pleased him, but the clever one agonized greatly over the mistake. How much wisdom do I have? How much wisdom I have, yet I made such a mistake. Regarding medicine, he suffered as well. When he would come to a patient and would treat him, he would be certain that if the patient were to survive, he would certainly be cured. By such an extraordinary treatment, the patient would subsequently die. People would say that he caused the death, and he would suffer greatly from this. Sometimes he would treat a patient, and the patient would heal, and people would say that it was a coincidence. He was constantly filled with suffering. Also, when he needed a garment, he summoned the tailor and worked with him until he had taught him how to make the garments according to his wishes, as he was accustomed. The tailor got the idea and made the garment according to his wishes, except for a mistake in the lapel, which he didn't get right. The bottom corner. This bothered him a lot, because he thought to himself, even if it looks okay here, where they are not particular about such things, if I were in Spain with a label like this, I would be a laughing stock, and I would seem like a fool. And so he was always full of suffering. The simple one would constantly come running to the clever one with joy, and to find that he was depressed, only to find that he was depressed and full of suffering. He asked him, "Someone as wise and as wealthy as you, why are you always suffering? Aren't I always happy?" In the eyes of the clever one, he was a clown, and he seemed crazy to him. The simple one said to him, "In general, aren't the people who mock me fools? Because if they are more clever than I am, then, on the contrary, they are fools. As mentioned above, this is all the more true for someone as clever as you. So what if you are more clever than I am?" The simple one spoke up and said to the clever one, "If only you could come to my level It could indeed happen that I could reach your level, replied the clever one, if my intellect would be taken from me, perish the thought. Or if I were to become sick, perish the thought, and I were to go crazy. But for you to come to my level, it is completely impossible. For you to be wise like me, for the blessed God, anything is possible. For the blessed God, anything is possible. For the blessed God, anything is possible, replied the simple one. It could happen in a blink of an eye, that I come to your level. The clever one laughed at a lot about this. The clever one laughed a lot about this. Nanach, nachman, 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 nachman.